Stugotz, are you ready? Because this week and the next few weeks are going to be mainline overdosing, playoff, local teams flying all over the place, immersing ourselves in hockey and basketball. But are you ready for Bill Simmons and Dave Portnoy and Dana and Derek and all the whites?
Dana Whites
from Boston, ready to feud with Miami. This feels good. This is Pat Riley sending out on company letterhead to Danny Ainge, who couldn't get past Pat Riley in the conference. Danny Ainge needs to shut the bleep up. The tradition of the Boston Celtics that Mike speaks of is a long time ago. We remember Philadelphia and Boston as teams that have represented greatness in this conference a long time ago when it was just Philadelphia, the Lakers, and Boston. But Miami has been, for 20 years now, the cream of the conference. I mean, it's not just with LeBron, it's without LeBron as well. And here comes
They
Boston.
haven't won a title without LeBron, but to your point.
No,
Yeah,
but
they did in
They
2006.
did.
Oh,
They
you're
won-
right.
they won
Well,
with-
before that, yes. But since then, they have not. So
Well, that's how 20 years works.
you're right.
And it's hard to win the title, as Giannis will tell you. He was exceptional. He was wonderful. And he was down a player, and against Boston, you can't be. These teams are hugely even to me because the second half of the season, Boston was every bit as good as Miami was at its peak. And I can't wait to watch these teams play. But most recently, their star was met at the rim, and he was denied. And most recently, when Miami and Boston played for something that mattered, Jason Tatum couldn't get over the hump. He will get less regard for passing Miami than he will have for Durant and Giannis. If he gets past them here and gets to the final round, he will have done his hardest work nationally in reputation the last two playoff series. He will not get credit for slaying Jimmy Butler the way that he will get credit for slaying Durant and Giannis.
If he can move on, though, and then face Golden State, he will get credit for slaying Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green.
Second place doesn't get you that much, though. Yes, if he
goes on and wins.
Yes, if you knock out Golden State, what happened yesterday with Phoenix is maybe the most stunning thing I've ever seen watching basketball. Charles Barkley was speechless at halftime.
Wasn't for me.
Charles Barkley at halftime, speechless, just looking at the camera, staring ahead, confused how they're down 30 in a game 7 at home. I had the Suns -6.
Just devastated.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Devastated that he won't be going to the Phoenix Suns Western Conference home games. That was what was washing over Charles Barkley. He's like, I had a good deal here.
He lost being able
I'm
to
going
just
home.
He had
golf
Scottsdale
all
in
day.
his mind.
How excited are you? We will get to Panthers stuff because I don't want to just skip merrily past the first playoff series victory for the hockey team in 25 years. But we sent Roy out there. He's still hungover.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're watching on Get Up, but while this is also Stugotz's day, do not forget that it might be Pat Beverley's day too. And Get Up brought in the big guns with Pat Beverley sitting in studio. I wonder if this was scheduled before last night's result, or if he just rang them up. Hey, I'm in the neighborhood.
Wait, you have Beverly calling them, saying, "Hey, I'm around."
Hey, I'm in the neighborhood. Watched a game last night. I feel
I
like
love
I had
that,
something
yeah.
I could add.
Booking a hotel by the seaport for Monday, May the 16th, just in case.
Patrick Beverley has talked his way into being a bigger star than his play merits, and his playoff exits, early playoff exits merit. Like Patrick
You can't
Beverley,
hold all those against him. He was playing on teams with Chris Paul. Dan.
Exactly.
Patrick Beverley is just a dude with a mouth in the NBA, and he's going to talk his way into a broadcasting career.
I mean, he's a good player. He's had a very long career, but yes, the celebrity outshines the game on the court. This was a guy that couldn't make the Miami Heat Big Three team. He was on that roster at the time, and he couldn't make the team.
How excited are you about the playoffs now escalating to the place where Boston and Miami meet?
I think it's very cool that you have this for the Heat and this for the Panthers. The opponents are the opponents that you want. I wanted Tampa Bay. You got to slay the dragon, okay? You got to exact your revenge. So they get another chance to get Tampa Bay here with Kucherov and Stamkos and that team that we hate. Plus, it's a shorter commute in case me and Mike want to go to a road game. I mean, I love how this played out. And I think if you're a Heat fan, you wanted to play the Celtics. You do. It's a more exciting series. It is.
I also think, in talking to some Heat fans, you feared Giannis. You feared the singular player who just had an unprecedented postseason. What was it? It was 200 points, 100 rebounds, 50 assists. Nobody's ever done it in a playoff series.
Well, I feared Middleton. More than Giannis. Giannis, I've already resigned to Giannis getting his numbers.
Woody, that's your most embarrassing take, correct? That Middleton...
I don't know, Dan. They want to tie it with Middleton, and they got out in the second round without him. So,
for those of you who do not know, Fancy Lad announced himself by proclaiming Middleton Milwaukee's number 1 and Giannis Milwaukee's number 2. But Stugotz, if you saw the back and forth. Because what I'm about to say is a bit true for both teams, the Panthers and the Heat. Steph was talking about Dillon Brooks and saying Dillon Brooks was saying all sorts of crazy shit when we were playing them. He called himself a dynasty already. Steph was saying Dillon Brooks going like 11 for 28 with 2 free throws, like just launching up threes and being less good at the threes than Golden State. Dillon Brooks said afterward, we're young and they're old, so they know we're coming every year. This is the Panthers are Dillon Brooks here with Tampa Bay. Okay, you had all the playoff experience last year. We were an up-and-comer, and allegedly, strengthened by fire, we now are President's Trophy people because you made us stronger, and we are now ready to, as Stugotz says, slay the dragon.
Exact your revenge. I mean, this is a team that has won back-to-back Stanley Cup championships. They have. I mean, they're the best team in hockey, best organization in hockey, and
it's
if you're the Panthers...
thing to want. Wanting them is a brutal thing to want because the 8 seed was tough enough. That was hard enough what just happened.
I know.
Like, to want that. Boston, you know you can do it. Panthers, you don't know you can do it. Like, Boston Heat fans know they can beat Boston.
This is the best team in hockey. The Panthers have been the best team in hockey the entire season. So you're playing Tampa Bay. You have an opportunity here to knock out the team that has won the last 2 Stanley Cup championships, and if they go on to knock off Tampa Bay and then knock off Carolina or the Rangers and win the Cup, then they'll look back and say, you know what? I'm glad we had to go through Tampa Bay because no one can leave any stone unturned. No one can criticize us.
Right.
No one can say they didn't have to face the Lightning. No one can say anything. You can't poke holes in the Cup. How about that? Yep.
Real Ice Cats fans know, Dan. The Lightning, BFD, you know what I mean? No one cares about the Lightning anymore. These people won the President's Cup. This is a new season.
Trophy.
Biden Trophy, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
That's what they won. And they're going to keep going. They took out Ovechkin. Sure, you thought he was so great, and the, Washington, whatever they are. Guess what? They're out of there. And guess what? Next round, also out of there, the Lightning. Boom.
How about that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm inspired.
Yeah.
These are... You could actually say that the Lightning are the foil for the Panthers the way that the Heat are the foil for the Boston Celtics. The Celtics are already leaning in on social media to this whole revenge tour. They eliminated the Nets, who eliminated them. They eliminated the Bucks, who eliminated them. And now the final hurdle for Jason Tatum is getting to the NBA Finals. This is a Boston team that has suffered for a great deal of years, running into different championship cores or eventual champion cores or Eastern Conference champion
we're in a
cores.
weird time. We're going to have our 5th different champion in 5 years. That's not normal for basketball. Basketball tends to have championships that are won by teams or dynasties. You don't have this much upheaval in the sport, and we're short of having a new champion.
Right, but the one constant throughout all these different champions is it kind of went through Boston. That Boston core was there dating back to LeBron with the Cavs, right? And Jason Tatum got denied at the rim famously, even though I think was that game 1? It felt like it clinched the series.
It was goaltending.
No, it wasn't.
The shot was on its way down.
No, can't be on the way down if there's a hand on it the entire time. But I'm really happy about how the opponents actually worked out. These are the Panthers don't have a long postseason history. They barely have any, but they have one. fairly recently with
You
the
were in
Tampa
Washington.
Bay Lightning.
I
was in Washington.
You went
but
as a fan. You were not making content. You refused to make content. You were there for the purity of fandom. You would not.
Well, there was one time I tried to make content, and Roy was like, I texted Lewis, and he told me that Roy was just far too into the intermission. Not really sure what was happening there.
Roy gets into everything with the game. I mean, he is the first one in the reporter's room to get sound afterwards. Like, he loves every aspect
Do we
of
have any
covering
of
the
the sound?
Panthers.
Well,
I
we
have
don't
no
do
idea.
anything with the sound, but he's there
Did
getting
he
it.
send it?
Yeah.
He just plays it back on his voice
I'm
memos?
not certain he hits record. I think he just likes to witness it and, like, listen, you know? He likes to be there.
Look,
likes to be in the
But
mix.
the point I was trying to get to is these are dream matchups, and I do think most Panther fans wanted to go through the Tampa Bay Lightning. You're not going to win the cup unless you prove it to yourself that you're better than Tampa. But local sports fans got absolutely screwed by the NHL because there is only one of a potential 7 games in both series that won't have a direct conflict, pretty much.
Yeah, this is going to be rough. This is going to be brutal. Trying to get between all of the things and cover this well because they did us no favors here in South Florida. You're going to. They are different fan bases, though. I don't think you're gonna. It's going to be weird to have 2 playoff games happening in town, and both of them in our town, alleged to be bad sports towns. Both of them are going to be full, obviously.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of cross-pollination. I'm going to be at the Panther game on Tuesday. Made up my mind about that. I don't understand why this game wasn't already pre-scheduled for Monday. Apparently, that's not enough time between series, even though this series has a back-to-back, for heaven's sake.
No, but you can't.
No, the Tampa Bay Lightning played Saturday night. The NHL should have gotten ahead of this and scheduled it for a Monday night. Especially, like, what's the argument there? Not enough rest in a series that they scheduled a back-to-back?
Did you want Tampa to get past?
Yes.
You wanted this.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I want Tampa. I want
Exact
Tampa
some
almost as bad as I
revenge.
want the Cup.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I want to beat 88.
Yep.
I want to beat Vasilevsky. I want to beat Kucherov. I want
Yep.
to beat Stamkos. I hate these guys. I want to beat Braden Point. I don't like these guys one bit. And I want to be the one that ends their run. They are back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. They are incredibly hard to kill. Toronto should have done it, but Vasilevsky saved their ass in the last series. I wanted to be the one to do it, and I'm happy Tampa is the opponent.
Did you say you'd rather beat Tampa than win the Cup?
It's right. It's right neck and neck.
Okay.
I can't even see the Cup right now. All I see is 88. All I want right now is Tampa. You're not going to win the Cup if you're not going to prove to yourself that you're better than Tampa.
Did you also say that you were going to the Panther game over the Heat game on Tuesday night?
Yeah, so hockey games, I mean, the Eastern Conference Finals will tip a little bit later than what they're saying, 8:30, which don't even get me started on that. I'm not happy about this.
Same.
It's tough,
Yeah.
right? I know
Yeah.
Billy's disappointed.
8:30, Jesus.
We got 7 o'clock.
9 o'clock next
We got
round.
7 o'clock puck drops. If the Panthers can end the Lightning in regulation, then I think there's a shot that we actually don't get the 2 games actually crossing over one another. So I'm hoping for that.
I believe our show is officially washed when we're arriving at the Eastern Conference Finals, and Stugotz is lamenting, "I've got a 8:30 start."
It's disrespectful, honestly, and they need to get over themselves. And if Golden State gets eliminated, there is no reason for those games to start later than 7 o'clock in the NBA Finals because no one on the West Coast is going to be watching these games. So we don't need to be starting games at 10 o'clock to cater to Golden State.
You guys are so
Get
washed.
out of here.
It's embarrassing.
Please.
It's embarrassing.
I mean, Mike's saying the same thing. He's a lot younger than I am, and I know Whittingham's thinking it.
But this has been this. The basketball for many years now. It's exhausting. The basketball playoffs, all of them, exhausting. And all of these games have been late, and the West Coast games are hard to follow.
But we've never done this at the same time as we've had a hockey run. That's what's making it
There's too
exhausting.
much going on.
There's a
Everything
lot
else
going
for
on.
the morning
Right.
to
I
be
just
here.
refuse to descend into being into the show that complains about the start times of playoff games that matter. Like, go fuck yourself. I don't want to be that show.
But 7 p.m. is nice for the Panthers,
Nice.
right?
It would be nice.
We
It
can
would
start
be
this
nice.
show a little later, and then we could stay up for those games. I have to go to sleep at 9:30. Like I'm out at the end of the first quarter in some of these games.
That's just dad stuff, though. That wouldn't be you during the Marlins. It wouldn't be.
Bad
That's
stuff. No, I went on a bender in Washington, D.C., and I had a flight at 6 a.m.
Attaboy.
Dad stuff. No, these hockey playoffs are going to be the death
Billy.
of me.
You wouldn't care if they were West Coast games and they were Marlins playoff games on the West Coast. You would. They're playoff games. games.
These aren't real rounds.
Look,
yet,
man,
yeah.
I understand you complain about.
It's getting real right now.
They haven't won a playoff series in 26 years.
Oh, I was up for those. I
Felt
fell
pretty
asleep.
real in DC.
I fell asleep, but I woke back up by the end.
I mean, the
which is good,
Panthers
yeah.
are fine. I mean, they're dropping the puck at 7. It's the Heat at 8:30. That's an embarrassment. I mean, do better, NBA.
Yeah, I don't know what they're
seriously.
doing.
Jeez,
What
think about me.
embarrassment.
It is embarrassing, Dan. It's Miami and Boston, two
Embarrassment.
East Coast teams. Like, what? Why are we
Exactly.
starting at 9 o'clock? Because 8:30 is not 8:30.
Yeah, it's
That's-
8:47.
Well, I'm
fake
counting on
30,
that.
yeah.
I'm really hoping for that. I'm not sure what the NHL was trying to do here. They finally break the cycle with that Sunday 1:30 p.m. start, which shout out to that. I appreciate that start, Game 3.
Yeah.
But then they go back to back for Game 4 the very next day because Kane Brown has a concert on Saturday night. Again, all of this could have been addressed had they just scheduled it for Monday.
Let's talk about some of the particulars in this series, Stugotz. I saw a stat that I did not know, which is that Jimmy Butler and Kawhi Leonard are the only two active players who have more steals than fouls, which it tells you how good those two people are at defense, that they can do that because they're the only two active who can do it. And Zach Lowe was saying, and he's admitted obviously that he's wrong. It's been proven wrong. But he was saying a few years ago, I'm not sure any team in the league has a bleaker outlook than Miami. And since then, it's been a couple of conference finals, and it's won finals, and now a chance at another finals. And I don't know that he was wrong. I mean, they were in hell. It was Deion Waiters, Hassan Whiteside, James Johnson, all of them with giant contracts.
Oh, I would say at the time he was probably right. Yeah, but Riley turned it around quickly.
But couldn't be more wrong. Like probably right at the time, but couldn't be more wrong.
He wasn't alone in his thinking, is what I'm saying. That's all.
Sedano did this too when he went on his now locally famous "I'd rather be the Sixers" take. What is baked into all these takes is the assumption that the Miami Heat haven't proven time and time again that they're really good at this. Like, they'll figure it out. If they have a bad contract, they'll figure it out. That's why I laugh at Mike Schur telling me, oh, Jimmy Butler for $50 million at 36 years old. That's going to look great. Like, haven't they proven that they'll figure it out? They got Jimmy Butler with zero cap dollars. They always find a way.
What you said to Mike Schur actually was that'll be Charlotte's problem. Jimmy Butler, $50 million at 36 years old. Billy, why were you?
What they do.
Sedano needs to pick a side already.
What's
by
going
the way.
on with Sedano and you?
Well, not with me. I just kind of noticed, Heat fan when Heats are good, and then Lakers fan when the
totally.
Lakers are good, and Clippers fan.
Billy,
Let's pick
you're
a
right.
side already.
Billy, no,
okay?
Spot on.
this happens. He's a cliche. This happens when you go to Los Angeles. This is the thing, right? You get to adopt all the bandwagon things. He's super bandwagon Miami, and Stugotz and I are trying to figure out how to get Stugotz at a Panthers game with an actual bandwagon.
Is this possible? I want to take an actual bandwagon down the Sawgrass Expressway to a Panther game. Mike, I would like you to join me.
Wait, did you win that bet?
Which one?
The $500 bet.
No, I didn't want to.
He sent an invoice, but everyone knew he was lying. He
I
showed
didn't
up
win it.
midway through the first period.
He didn't
There's
show
no
any
way.
proof that he had done. He just said that he had made it in 15 minutes from his home to the hockey game and offered no proof.
It's debatable. I have videos. I've sent them to Mike. I sent them to Whitty. I sent them to Dan. I mean, it's up to you guys
There
to
are no
kind of piece them
videos.
together.
They're-
I have them on my phone if you want to check it out.
Let me see.
And here's the other thing that
That
happened.
checks out.
I said 15 to 20 minutes, and I think I said 15 to 25 minutes, and then Whittingham
You
did
said
that
10
editing thing
minutes.
where it
You
all of a
said-
sudden became 20, and then it was
All right,
15.
All right. We don't need
I
this.
said 15 to 20. I was there in 17 minutes, okay? But we digress. I want to take a bandwagon down the Sawgrass Expressway. I want to dress it up. I want to make fun of ourselves. I think it'd be fun. Can we get it done? Mike, I would like you to join me. You could come to my house, play a little golf, hop in the bandwagon. You and I go to a Panther game. How about that?
And don't count me in. We got 24 hours to plan this now. No thanks.
Can we use David Sampson's John Henry bus?
I'm actually not going to be here for game 2. I'll be watching Kiss. Again, I'm just so mad at these schedule makers.
Kiss.
Where-
I mean, there's a
Kiss?
Heat
Where
game
are you
too.
watching
I'm
Kiss?
going to Welcome to Rockville, so it's got Kiss and Guns N' Roses, and I'm going to be watching them.
Do
while
you
watching
care
them.
about either of these teams?
I
mean-
didn't foresee this day.
Do you care about either of those bands?
Kiss?
That's a good question.
No. I mean, GNR. Actually, I've become really excited. I'm going to see Papa Roach.
Oh dear God!
You're more
Mike.
excited to see Papa Roach than the Eastern
That's
Conference
just
Final.
wrong.
What is
It's
happening
wrong.
here?
It's truly wrong. Thank you, Billy.
I haven't seen Nine Inch Nails in a while. I said yes. I was drunk. What do you want
Well, you
me
can
to do?
sell those tickets. Say, hey,
No, I already planned.
I'm about
There's
this culture.
a home in Daytona Beach.
Yeah.
I'm already going.
Stugotz,
What a bandwagon.
Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to be Mr. Heat, Mr. Panther here, and
Yeah.
and you know, when the going gets tough, the tough gets Papa Roachin.
I don't think it's a saying.
I've heard it.
It is now.
No,
put it on the poll, Guillermo. When the going gets tough, do the tough get Papa Roachin?
I'm looking at you differently, man.
Yeah.
Like, so where are your priorities?
I've
Look,
lost some
they go
respect
on
for
late.
him.
I'm not gonna miss the Panthers games.
Stugotz, I'm with you on this, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I usually make fun of the person who writes in and says, I've lost all respect for you. And I'm like, can I just have a little bit of it back? Do you have to take it all? I've lost some respect for Mike right now.
Yeah, it's valid. I'm not even going to push back on that. Did anybody
How
tune
could
in?
you? I mean-
Did anybody tune in to TNT to watch Charles Barkley pick against the Miami Heat for a 30th consecutive time? Because I did. And while I wasn't surprised because Charles just hates Miami and doesn't actually watch their games, I was surprised by the logic when he said, I think the Celtics scores are going to be more efficient than Miami's scores. What is he doing? What is he doing there? Jimmy Butler has had one of the most efficient postseasons for a Miami Heat player ever.
Not a
I'm
Miami
pretty
Heat
sure-
player. Mike, he has been, by the metrics, he's been the best player in the postseason.
Yes, and I'm looking at the
But-
field goal
but people are
percentages and all
looking-
the efficiencies. He's been much better than Jason Tatum from an efficiency
But people
standpoint.
are looking, Mike, I told you that this is what the analysis was going to be. It's not about who's winning. It's about how the person is losing. When you make this the criticism, when you do an argument show, and they've got a lot of room where they've got to talk, Stugotz, because I could not believe yesterday. I timed it on my phone. Mike Greenberg said back in studio, Jalen, how about Giannis? 16 seconds back to commercial. They had 16 seconds. The question was, how about Giannis at the half? They have no time. On the TNT show, they have time.
What did Jalen say? I'm just out of curiosity.
Well, he called.
How about Giannis? Yeah.
He called Grant Williams the stocky 3-point shooter, and I thought stocky was a bit of an insult.
That has nothing to do with Giannis.
It didn't, but he had already begun celebrating. It's just basically Jalen talk for 16 seconds about the game. But he did it really quickly. Jalen, how about Giannis?
I feel like after that series, though, the conversation wasn't about Giannis because that's what you earn when you win a title and Chris Middleton is out. That one series and that one series only was actually about the winning team.
Okay, no, but I'm not. What I'm saying is that Atlanta, the coverage of this, when he's asking me about Barkley, Atlanta and Philadelphia were not viewed as being broken by the Heat.
Right.
They were viewed as just being broken. Boston is collecting collateral. Boston is a betting favorite in this series because of who they're beating. They're gathering up public sentiment on this because people are disregarding 4 and 8 seed. You got the 1 seed. You got the easier teams. Congratulations. You didn't have happen to you what just happened to Phoenix. Congratulations. You didn't lose a game 7 at home. The Heat are only where they're supposed to be, but Boston is the betting favorite in this series, and Boston is the betting favorite, even though it doesn't have home court, because Boston, the second half of the season, was as good as anybody, Stugotz. And I thought their defense would suffer when they lost Time Lord, and it has not suffered. The Miami Heat, this will be the first time the Miami Heat meet a defense as good as theirs. This will be the first time the Boston Celtics meet a defense as good as theirs.
Right.
And the end of these games, I believe what Charles Barkley is doing there is simply at the end of games, I'm going to trust Tatum more. It doesn't matter that Jimmy Butler's 12 for 18 and has 9 free throws in the
the
game.
end of games, it's been Jimmy, and he's been killing it. And this is a matchup that actually plays into Jimmy's strengths. I think
More than Milwaukee. I don't want Jimmy around Giannis. Jimmy looked really bad though.
Milwaukee would have been a series for our shooters. Milwaukee, you have to shoot over that length, and you would count on. That's how Miami beat them the first go around. Was they shot over the length quite easily, and inside that bubble they had great sightlines. I'm not going to do the thing where I hold up the bubble because I think it's fairly evident last season was a kooky NBA season. I always got pissed off when people diminish the accomplishments of the bubble. Just logically, I didn't understand what it was. You eliminate travel and you eliminate distractions. Therefore, you actually have the best of the best, no?
Yeah,
you
but
have
Mike,
these
you have
incredible
to-
sidelines.
No,
I never got it.
No, you have to win games on the road, Mike. You have to.
Well, I understood why fans perpetuated that, because fans always have an inflated sense of self-worth. They actually think they'll matter in the outcome. So I kind of get the fan narrative, but I don't necessarily understand how former players actually lean into that.
Also, you would have the people know that given the arduous nature of what we now know we've been watching, Boston, all those teams last season that played deep into the previous season were gutted. They were physically gutted. Like that, when Mike says this is a recalibration, the best two teams in the conference are here, and they've been the best two teams in the conference for 3 years running.
They were finalists inside the bubble. Last year, they both got eliminated in the first round. In a season that saw the Atlanta Hawks, mind you, after, 200 days off, make it to the Eastern Conference Final. We saw the Suns lose in the second round. We saw the Bucks lose in the second round. Now the Celtics and Heat are back in the Eastern Conference Finals. I have all the circumstantial evidence I need to suggest last year was a kooky year, not the bubble.
I still think, though, that Milwaukee is better than both of these teams that have made it to the Eastern Finals. Like Middleton being out is a massive deal. I think Milwaukee is the best team in this conference. What they did going 7 with Boston, even though they completely capitulated in the second half of Game 7, as impressive as anything we've seen, because they're playing off a tight turnaround. Everyone's been playing off a tight turnaround. In some ways, the seasons aren't really related as a result of playing the finals in August, starting the next season quickly, and then Milwaukee having to play a late season. They get their season started quicker than anyone else's after an arduous final. So I think the seasons aren't related, and I think Milwaukee's the best team.
I'm so tired of champions complaining about how they won the championship, so it's so tough for them. LeBron would do it I need a vacation. Oh, we need more days. Oh, David Stern. Oh, Adam Silver. I only want to play 3 games this season, and then I'll be there in the finals. Oh, make the NBA All-Star game 6 weeks long. Oh, do this. Oh, do that. Like, please.
Is Milwaukee complaining? Are they?
I'm just tired of the excuses of they had a long season. Then don't go to the finals, okay? You want some vacation? Then don't win the championship.
Don't win a title.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I do find it
Be the
curious.
Hornets.
Everyone else is allowed to be injured except Kyle Lowry. No one ever talks about it. In any of the analysis when I've seen Heat Celtics or Heat Sixers, really, no one really mentions Kyle Lowry's not out there. They added to the team that made it to the NBA Finals. Kyle Lowry was a huge piece in getting over the hump and actually winning a title. He hasn't been there.
They added Kyle Lowry to a team that already had knocked out Boston in 6 games. They added Kyle Lowry to that. Now, the next thing that happens, though, Stugotz, when these are narrative-building things, and when you have, because Whittingham's right, like whether you think Milwaukee's the best or not, it's been Milwaukee, Boston, and Miami sort of bouncing against each other as we've spent a lot of time talking Nets and Sixers and other things, but in the story of the merit of basketball being played, those have been the 3 teams bouncing against each other, and if it had been Miami, Milwaukee again, it would have been something that would have been interesting as well. Miami beats Milwaukee as an underdog. Giannis was supposed to win the title that year. Giannis was supposed to be the MVP type player that year. Their collapse is upon him. Miami put it there. Giannis, you can't do this. You're not good enough. You're somebody who in these moments can be stopped by playoff basketball. But the next year when they play again, and it might be Drew Holiday. I remember having these arguments with you guys, but it also might be, Stugotz, that these seasons, when they go long against each other, Milwaukee's in an unholy death fight, going out the way a reigning champion should. Middleton's down, and Giannis is clubbing you with everything he's got, and holy shit, Boston, congratulations. Grant Williams and Al Horford did some things, and then in Game 7, Milwaukee might have come crashing to its knees because fouls were harder to come by. The jump shot wasn't falling. Boston's are raining from the sky. Worthy champion goes down, exhausted. Because Giannis, in that game, don't tell me you didn't see it physically, because you so rarely see it with him. He was done physically. He's just running back and forth because he's dragging the last bits of the championship with no Middleton, and Tatum wants it now. And Tatum wants his moment to slay Giannis and get revenge.
So does Gerald Williams. I mean,
yeah, Milwaukee was a very different team than Grant Williams.
Fine.
Yeah.
Sorry. Couple dollars.
Milwaukee's a vastly different
They
team.
give him the greatest of compliments. Do you know what they call Grant Williams, Stugotz?
What?
Little Al.
Oh, really? Oh, my God.
Wow.
Getting a little ahead of themselves, but I understand that. I could see the comparisons.
Drew Holiday was a difference maker against the Miami
$5.
Heat.
Why
So
don't
was
you just
PJ
give me
Tucker.
$2?
I mean, you owe 25. So
PJ Tucker was pretty important.
What do I owe 25?
There was a text this morning where you wrote Chris Pale instead of Chris Paul. You owe me $500 for getting to the Panther game. I think you said Long Suey instead of Big Suey. It's like $150 total.
For my texts?
Yeah, I
It
mean,
is Chris
listen.
Paul.
Yeah, and $500 for the Panther game. How much do I owe?
You owe $3 on top of the $2 that you put in because you owe a total of $5.
Yeah. Well, here's 3 more. Bunch of singles. When are you putting yours in?
I don't owe anything.
Okay.
You were saying, Mike.
It is
Saying-
Chris Pale. I mean,
Saying PJ Tucker, no Middleton. Yeah, you can make an argument that Milwaukee, if they were healthy, would be better. But PJ Tucker was a pretty key ingredient into that championship team, and he's with Miami now. And I'm not so sure how that series was going to go, and I'm honestly not sure how this series is going to go. I think it's going to be a long one. I think it probably goes 7, in which I will side with the team that has home court in that.
Do you realize how
advantage. And
exhausted you're going to be, though, fighting Tampa fans? This is going to be bad for your mental health. Fighting Boston Celtics fans.
he's
on-
going to a
This
concert.
is, yes,
I think fighting Kiss fans. Ooh, the most
Papa
difficult.
Roach fans.
The most difficult of the triumvirate. Kiss fans.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show, Guillermo. Who are the most evil of fans? Lightning fans, Celtics fans, or Kiss fans?
I mean, you guys do know that if you were to do a poll, that Miami fans would be more annoying than like if you did who's more annoying as a fan, Celtics fans or Heat fans are going to win.
Yeah, every
Over
time.
Celtics fans?
I think that'd be
Yes.
a very close contest.
I don't.
Very close.
National
Nationally,
straw poll?
yes.
Man, Celtics fans are pretty annoying, and that's tough.
They are annoying, but we're viewed as people who just show up when
I'm flattered, honestly.
you are. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is one of the great things that I love. I'll never get used to, or we will never stop profiting off of the idea that you being called a bad fan is hugely insulting. Like, you have other things to do other than a sporting event. Getting there in the first 9 seconds of the first quarter because traffic was bad. You're a bad fan. Miami's fans are bad. They're not right there in the first row of the 12-10 start to an NBA playoff game.
I'll concede. I'll be a bad fan while singing "Love Gun" out loud. That's going to be bad.
I am
bad fan
shocked
moment.
by this, man. I
Look,
really
man,
am.
I
You've
went
been
to-
waiting for this
I
forever.
went to D.C. and I locked eyes with Ryan Lomberg, and he told me we got it, and it was a very emotional moment for
Okay,
me.
I got it.
But I am bummed about the schedule. Thankfully, the Knights and Satan service go on much later at night.
It's your schedule, though.
Yeah, you could
control
just
it.
not go.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of money here. Just a lot of budgeting, and there's babysitters. Juliet's actually coming to this
To kiss?
to Daytona.
What?
Yeah, which is actually more evil than.
Are
Kiss
you gonna
fans, Daytona
paint her
Beach.
face as a baby kiss demon?
No, the Kiss goes on at like 10 p.m. It's far past her bedtime. So.
NBA Finals time.
Yeah.
Exactly. Are you painting your face or?
I might. As you do.
Haven't you seen Kiss? Didn't you go with Dan dressed
Yeah.
up as Kiss once
Yeah.
before?
Yeah, as you do.
You had to do it again?
Yeah, well, I want to rock and roll all night,
Mm-hmm.
not just part of the night.
Right.
Stugotz, what did you do with the end of the Sixers series when Jimmy Butler's coming off the court? I totally missed this. Totally. They explained it to me when we did show on Friday morning because I did not understand what Jimmy Butler was yelling about when he came back to the locker room yelling, Tobias Harris over me. Tobias Harris over me.
Yeah.
I did not know. I thought somebody in like a matchup on one of these ESPN shows had taken, for some reason, Jimmy Butler in a matchup against, or taken Tobias Harris in a matchup against Jimmy Butler. I didn't realize that what he was spitting there was shrapnel at a former teammate and employee that he was pissed off publicly that the Sixers chose to pay him instead of Jimmy Butler. That's a good bit of poisonous resentment leaking out of you at the end of a game where you're walking through the facility of a place where you did some winning, but Kawhi Leonard broke your heart with a shot at the buzzer. The best Sixers team of my lifetime, Stugotz.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best Sixers team of my lifetime. The one that Jimmy Butler was on that ended up getting knocked out. For him to walk through the bowels.
Wait a second. Better than Dr. J's team? Better than faux?
You know what? I meant, you're right. Okay,
All right.
fine. The team that won the championship with Andrew Toney and Maurice
semantics,
Cheeks and
I
those
understand,
guys.
right? Yes.
Fair enough. The lifetime of most of the people listening to this who aren't old people. That Sixers team to come through the bowels of the arena and hit that, throw that acid out there, I thought was pretty telling.
It's actually a little bit more embarrassing too because it's not factual. It wasn't Tobias over Jimmy Butler. Yaron Weitzman, who wrote a book called "Tanking to the Top." Top of what? The trash heap. It was actually more Al Horford than Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
That's understandable.
And
now you're
the reason why they did that.
Yeah.
The reason why they did that is they thought they would be matching up against Giannis in the postseason. And Yaron goes on to say that Jimmy Butler's agent, Bernie Lee, went on a rant telling the Sixers that they were making a huge mistake. He told Josh Harris that he was breaking up a championship team and that he was putting Simmons in a position to fail and that he'd end up having to trade Ben Simmons and that he was wasting years of Joel Embiid's prime. Jimmy Butler, a bit prophetic.
Mike, I wanted to get one more thing from you here before we got out of here because on the local hour, because in the portal, I didn't know how close you were to this Jalen Robinson, who was the UCF transfer portal kid that Lane Kiffin stole. But since you've been in the inner workings of like how much some of these things cost, how much was Miami in the game for Jalen Robinson, the UCF wide receiver?
Miami's in the game for everybody, and there's going to be wide receivers coming. You can't get them all. I was actually surprised that Ole Miss snagged somebody because Lane Kiffin has been publicly complaining to his boosters to spend more money. So that's what it takes now. And I'm glad we can talk about it transparently because it's always been this. It's always been this. And I saw again that the NCAA is going to try to retroactively punish teams for not 100% abiding by the thought of what NIL was supposed to be. And I think
the spirit of it,
I guess
they're going to try it. They're going to try and legislate.
But you know who's behind this, right?
The spirit of it.
You know who's pushing the NCAA.
I saw some people that I was surprised to see be a voice for this, including Deion Sanders out of nowhere.
Yeah, Deion Sanders is one of the voices.
Coach Prime.
Kirby Smart is one of the voices. Nick Saban is one of the voices. These schools are pushing the NCAA to do their bidding. Because they like the old way.
They want to stay on top.
They want to stay on top. They like that they could get away doing all this same shit, by the way, but just with some sort of veil over it. Let me tell you, Georgia, Alabama, they're as dirty as it comes when it comes to this game. As dirty as it comes. And it's a weak-ass move to be going to the NCAA to try to be your arm here as you're worried about other schools finally getting in the game. It's absolute bullshit.
You're making the public claim. Is this a Mike Ryan exclusive? That
am I telling you that
is as dirty as they come?
Am I telling you that the SEC pays for players and has for several years? Yes, I am. Am I telling you that cash payments have been made to recruits to go to Alabama and Georgia throughout the years? Yes, I am. Prove me wrong. Let's go to court.
Hasn't that been going on for decades?
Yeah, let's go to court. Let's go to discovery.
What's the shock in that statement?
Because it's bullshit.
Well, he'll win. I mean,
because they always can hold on to this illusion. Never been caught. Never been caught.
Innocent till proven guilty.
Alabama has a good reputation, right? Mike. Alabama does not have a reputation as being a better cheater than the cheaters in the SEC. Alabama has the reputation of being better.
Alabama gets a lot of players for a lot of reasons.
Cheating.
Alabama gets a lot of players for a lot of reasons. And there are sometimes tie-breaking scenarios. This is college football. This has always been college football. I love that NIL is actually shining a light to it because you could see the establishment getting scared.
I liked it in the shadows.
No, because we couldn't operate.
Too much John Ruiz for my liking, to be perfectly honest.
I mean, way too much John Ruiz for my liking, to be perfectly honest.
I'm glad Ruiz is here. I'd just rather not know about him.
That's all I'm saying. John Ruiz is not feeding me. John Ruiz is doing a lot of great things.
Debatable.
I don't know.
I would know. John Ruiz is doing a lot of great things, but he's also a loudmouth on Twitter that people can point to and say that's a violation.
He wants very badly to be the guy that looks like the guy who's running the program.
Well, he saved the program.
It's annoying.
Not debatable.
It's annoying. He wants to look like he's in charge of the program.
He didn't. And internally, Miami's trying to figure out ways that they can have a little bit more control over the situation, because right now the optics are that this is what happens if John Ruiz's SPAC doesn't go through, which I don't know if you've read the recent news about SPACs, but it looks like a lot of them aren't going to go through. John Ruiz actually announced an NIL deal for a Florida long snapper. Wow. So I don't know if he's probably trying to angle for, look, I'm an agent of good. I'm playing both sides.
That seems like a waste of money.
I think John Ruiz is doing plenty of good, but he's got to cool it on Twitter. He's got to cool it on Twitter. He can't be announcing an NIL deal with a recruit that hasn't announced that he's going to Miami first. You're supposed to pretend that the player went to Miami and then after coming to Miami got an NIL deal.
If your motive is getting credit for the funding of the program,
you'll still get credit. He would get credit if he waited a day.
What I'm saying to you is
wait a day.
Is John Ruiz in this? It can be all of these things. It doesn't have to be an impure thing anymore. He doesn't have to be involved in altruism. This could be straight capitalism. He could be wanting to get today's most valuable currency, which is fame and power. And he seems to want to look like he just bought his way to the very top of the booster club, that there are no other boosters, that he's making the decision on what these rosters look like. And it can be because he wants to help kids, and it can also be because he wants to help John Ruiz. And I'm getting a whole lot of this. Just everything he does feels to me like, hey, let's make sure to get my name out there as the blowhard on top of all of this stuff. And he's, in doing so, he's bringing more light around the program and this stuff, because he's doing it more brazenly, because his motives are not pure. His motives are not pure if his motives are also to get really famous as the power broker.
Yeah, he has more than one angle here, and Miami can benefit from, look, all that John Ruiz entails is he's going to clout chase a little bit, and he's going to get plenty of clout. He's one of the more he was instantly recognizable as a big-time power booster nationally. You have Colin Cowherd knowing his name. There's a lot of boosters that you shouldn't know their names,
but he's
because
done
they
that.
operate in the
He's done that
shadow.
on purpose. He's got publicists. He's got people. I'm hearing from them. They're calling, like they're trying to get out the word on this guy's a big shot. But they're actively pursuing it. That's not how that comes.
He's also getting results. He's helping the program a lot.
He saved the program. What's the difference between John Ruiz and George Lucas? Every George Lucas movie has George Lucas's name all over it. So every John Ruiz move has John Ruiz's name all over it. Same thing.
That's what the man wants. I mean, he's paying for it.
Yes,
he's paying for that long snapper.
He needs to be more careful, because we're operating in a system where you have to be shadowy about how you announce these
Not
things.
anymore. No. Dare the NCAA to do something.
Well,
Mark,
Mike just dared everybody to sue him. Like Mike just sent out a.
Well, not John Ruiz. Be careful. He's an attorney at law. It says so on his Twitter.
Yeah. He has threatened Billy Corbin with litigation.
Really?
Yeah. He threatens a lot of people with litigation. I'm not a fan of that.
Billy Corbin plays a dangerous game.
He does.
He has lots of powerful people after him all the time.
He doesn't care, though.
We were doing a thing.
I seem to care.
I don't remember if Billy Corbin, I think he was in on this. But if he wasn't, whatever. It's too late. We're here already. I mean, I guess stop myself, but I'm not going to. We were playing a game the other day in the kitchen, which was a Billy Corbin murder mystery. A whodunit. Like, who got Billy? Because there's way too many options. Way too many. That would be a movie, Dan.
Well,
we should set odds.
We shouldn't probably legally. I don't know.
You're right.
The laws.
That's a good point.
I love Carl Hiaasen, the old-timey newspaper columnist for the Miami Herald. Bill Lawrence has chosen his post-Ted Lasso project. He's on today's South Beach session. Bill Lawrence is. He's chosen sort of the life and story of Carl Hiaasen. Vince Vaughn is in it, and they're doing something that celebrates an old Key West type. And Billy Corbin is like a character from one of Carl Hiaasen's novels, in that He was not only at the commissioner's office like one week, leaning against the wall at City Hall because he wanted to make sure that his mini documentary had pelted him with his office with telephone calls so that he would do what his job is to do, which is protect the people in this city. But as he's leaning against the wall, Francis Suarez, the mayor that he calls the most corrupt in the history of Miami, which is saying something, pulls into a parking spot right there. It's an empty, otherwise City Hall, averting the eyes of Billy Corbin, who is sing-songing after him while leaning against a wall after the mayor of our city. Now, don't bend over for Beckham here. Like just a character in a Carl Hiaasen novel. He's fighting all the good fights, but he's losing them.
Like the opposite of Batman.